Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fourth episode of Yearbook News. I'm here with Sarah, of course, and Lucy's returning to talk about curriculum. Say hi, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so yeah, our topic today is curriculum, and Lucy has done wonderful things for United Yearbook in terms of curriculum. So we just wanted to kind of talk and focus on all things curriculum. I know a lot of advisors just find that curriculum is a really important part of their yearbook class. And so I know that our yearbook curriculum is very, robust, and we just have a lot of layers to it. And so I just want to make sure that everyone out there kind of understands it and gets a good understanding of your heart behind the curriculum as well, because the research and the work that you've put into helping to create that has been wonderful to see. So I'm going to ask you a few questions like I have before. And I first want to get kind of a glimpse into your yearbook class and how you were able to create your curriculum while you were a yearbook advisor.
Well, I have experience with designing curriculum, and the fact that my master's degree is in curriculum instruction, and I really tune myself to the concepts that need to be provided, and the instruction that needs to accompany the concepts in order to invite students into the best mix in order to get them to maximize their learning. So what I did with my own class, I wrote the A through G curriculum for approval by the state for the student publication class. And so that was the topical outline of the class with key learning activities that would accompany the topical outline from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year. So it had the enduring understandings that were expected at the end of the school year, so that we all knew exactly what it was that kids would be able to know and do by the end of the student publication class. So I have a very formal training in curriculum and instruction. So I approach the design of curriculum and instruction methodology with a great deal of research and application in the classroom. So the ideas that I pursued were based on the art standards. I am I'm a retired art teacher, and for the purposes of the student publication class at the school that I retired from, there was no journalism teacher that was willing to take on the responsibility of creating a yearbook with students. And so I felt very strongly, I had a great passion around the capturing of student voice and the ability to support students in their endeavors to make clear what it is that they see their part in their schooling to be. And so I took on that responsibility, and I created the class using the state standards for the visual and performing arts, which were based on the state standards for the visual and performing arts on the national level. So there were layers of curriculum development that I leaned into as I developed the curriculum for A through G approval. Now, from A through G approval of the class to the day-to-day workings of the class, it becomes very well, conceptually, it becomes very, you take a concept and you break it down beginning with the end in mind. In other words, where you want the kids to be at the end of this particular learning unit. And so you have where you want them to be, how you know that they will be successful in gaining that information, and then how you want to scaffold their learning in order to get there. Okay, so the curriculum that I implemented in my classroom was based on a myriad of activities that were both sequential in their ability to take the kid from point, kids, students, staff, take them from point 1 or A to point 10 or Z along whatever continuum that we had in place. So, and it was also very recursive. In other words, we didn't just approach one idea once and then move on. It was touched a number of different times in a number of different ways. So it was kind of recursive in that way, so that the students were able to lean into previous understandings and gain a wider view of what it was that they began to learn at the beginning of the year, so that their knowledge base expanded as they practiced. And by the end of the year, they were saturated with the information, saturated with their knowledge, saturated with the new information that they had been able to produce. And in the yearbook class, of course, or the student publications class, one of those products was the yearbook. So after I retired, and by the way, as Sarah, Sarah was my partner for the last few years of my work as an advisor at the school. And it was a wonderful relationship, because she had a true understanding of the fact that this was a product by and for students. And she really had that instinct. Well, that was actually a business choice on her part, to make sure that students were an active part of the making of the yearbook, and that linked beautifully with my own personal philosophy and teaching and designing, and my personal work my professional work as a teacher in the classroom. So upon my retirement, I had a conversation with Sarah and said, if you ever need any help, just let me know. And so she let me know pretty quickly that curriculum was something that she had a fire about. And so when she asked me to start thinking about and discerning how to go about creating curriculum for United Yearbook, I based it on my own personal experience as a developer of curriculum. And so that meant that I applied my formal training. I applied my knowledge of research. Because I am a retired art teacher, I went back to my basics, which included the standards, the state standards in visual and performing arts, as well as the national standards in visual and performing arts. But I also brought in some digital media. And so the trends in digital media, and as those are also nationally and statewide defined as well, using standards and benchmarks. So I referenced those as well. So I began, and it looked like a textbook. And in fact, one of the things I liked best about the original curriculum, before it was repackaged for accessibility to a wider range of teachers who are new to yearbooking, what I liked best was the photographs that we used in the textbook instructional guides were specific to United Yearbook. Most of them. Very few stock photos were used. And the photographs that were of the clientele of United Yearbook, the students that participated in the various schools that United Yearbook partnered with. So I was very pleased that it showed the true face of what the company has as its partnership with schools. I also enjoyed the idea that the curriculum is a beginning point for teachers. It provides lots of research that is easily accessible online. It provides some lesson plans that are complete and tied to enduring understandings, but it also includes some learning activities which are not necessarily connected to the enduring understandings, but are thoughtfully crafted so that they are well done in a classroom. The curriculum is not intended to be something that is a standalone for a teacher. It is, again, a springboard. And so it is to be used as to augment what a teacher is already doing in a classroom, which is designing his or her curriculum to meet the needs of the student or students in their classroom on a day-to-day basis. So the work that I did as a teacher on a daily basis, I created my own presentations, I created my own learning activities, I created my own lesson plans. I made sure that those were available through my lesson plan book to teachers, and I mean parents and administration alike. I had a pace that was expected as well, so that people would know at a glance where we would be on any given day or any given week. So that job is the work of every teacher. But it became kind of clear to Sarah and I that for whatever reason, there was a need for teachers to have easier access to the content. And so we began to repackage some of the content in some very accessible presentations for use directly into the classroom. So that I took great pleasure in creating as well. So, and kind of a nutshell, that's how I formulated the work that I did for United Yearbook and development of curriculum.
I kind of want to share, make a comment about the curriculum that Lucy and United Yearbook developed, the past few years. I remember when I was a student, as a graphic design student, I took graphic design class. It was a whole semester class, and Lucy is able to make a boot camp version of design theory, graphic design. It is what you can see in the curriculum. So the students are going to learn some very high level theory that they may only get a chance, to study, to learn in college if it was not for yearbook. So I would say it is not only for them to learn about how to put together a visually appealing yearbook pages, but that experience, being able to learn in the material, is going to carry them through college and also in their career, because the curriculum is really to prepare the teachers to teach, but the student to learn some very high level design theory. The graphic design is only one aspect of the curriculum, but there are a lot more. For example, photography, copyright, photojournalism, writing photo captions, and creative writing. It covers everything a teacher will need to teach a very comprehensive, successful yearbook class.
And it was originally designed to carry a teacher through the first 9 weeks of school, because after the first 9 weeks of school, basically speaking, you're applying and applying and applying and reviewing and reviewing and reviewing and evaluating everything that you have learned in the first 9 weeks. So in the first 9 weeks, as Sarah hinted at, the concepts are design and layout. And so design includes color theory. It includes the idea of choice with regards to what makes a style in a yearbook. So we're talking about fonts, and we're talking about any kind of graphic applications. So any whooshes or shapes or whatever it is that you want to bring to a page spread. And in addition to that, as Sarah said, the creative writing aspect and the photography aspect and the being able to plan and organize, how to go about going from page 1 to the last page of the book, to the cover design. I mean, everything that goes into the idea of yearbook for student leadership, for breaking it down to how to evaluate whether a page spread is good, what makes a good page spread, how to go about critiquing so that it's about the work and not about individuals. I mean, there's so much that is, and all the software skills that are necessary in order to be able to bring everybody up to the same level. So it's a very intense 9 weeks. And by the end of that first 9 weeks, or maybe 12 weeks, or maybe 15 weeks, depending on how much time you need, by the end of that, you would have your cover design complete. You would have your very first pages complete. You would have the events completely covered from day 1 of the school year. And you would have the ladder, that organizing structure of the yearbook. You would have that completely arranged. You would have all of your student leadership in place. You would have the students actually doing the work of the entire book, with you being the coach on the side lines, making sure that you're there to implement strategies to mediate any kind of obstacle or any kind of challenge that needed to be addressed. So it's a very interesting, I think, concept with regards to curriculum and how to apply it in your classroom.
Yeah, if I'm going to add one more thing, the student leadership aspect, if the teacher uses it correctly, they will also coach and develop new student leaders.
Right.
If they're in the junior year and the goal is for them to return to the yearbook class as a senior in the following year, so that they can continue the baton to lead the new students. Again, yearbook advisor's job is to advise. It's not to do the job, for the students.
Right.
After all, it is the student publications for the school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so interesting hearing all the different aspects and hearing you talk about it in terms of those first few weeks, and how you really those advisors are really going to gain all of this information, and then they'll be able to just carry on throughout the rest of the year. If I, as an advisor, was looking at the curriculum, what kind of walkthrough would you give me? So I know obviously you talked about the repackaging of our curriculum. So yeah, what would you say I, as an advisor, would take away? How would I be able to use it to get it at every level that you've talked about, to be able to use it to its fullest,
Well, the curriculum has been designed so that in the very first 2 pages, there is a page of modules of learning. So, and it's interesting, if you were to take this on a week by week basis, which was the original intent of the curriculum, then you would have layers of topics throughout that week. And so, for an example, in the first week of school, you would introduce kids to digital citizenship. You would introduce your students to various aspects of the freedom of speech and what that entails in a classroom setting, and introduce them to the policies of the school district and how that intersects with the classroom. You would introduce them to designing a mission statement and a vision statement for their work in yearbook, and how they want to tell the story of their school and the experience of their school year. You would want to introduce students to the notion of covering events, and so you would have to talk about cameras and inventories, and how to use your phones as the camera of choice, if that's your choice. And then you would have to parlay all of that with partnerships with the athletic department, and making sure that your students are able to get on the fields, and to make sure that plans are begun to take photos of clubs. And I mean, there's a whole structure that needs to be in place the first week. Now, that sounds overwhelming if you were of a new person to the work. But if you were to just take a topic at a time and see how you can divide your week. And so we have provided with the newly packaged curriculum with the presentations, we have divided all of that first week information into very consumable chunks of information with those presentations. And those presentations have further research that at a fingertip you can just fly out to the internet and pull in more information for your students. It also provides kids with some video shorts and some information from other kids their age, so that they can see themselves in some very important information bites, so that they can see that it's not adults telling them what to do, but other people their age saying, we learned this, we want to share this information with you because we think it will help. So it's a nice, every presentation I've tried to make sure that they're designed from both the advisor's point of view as well as the student's consumption point of view. And they are also enriched with learning activities, slide by slide, so that there are, you can stop the presentation, perform the activity that will help to cement the information perhaps into the minds of the students, and then proceed with the next slide and the next slide. So I think that the complexity of what we teach, it's not a single subject that is done on a single day and we're done and then we move on. It's maybe 2 or 3 topics attached in a class period that then continues from day to day and is evaluated on multiple times during the course of that learning unit. Okay. So.
Oh, sorry, did you want to say something?
Oh, I just want to add to that. Right now, we have the presentation from booklet number 1 and number 2 already. Now, even the presentation that kind of like similar to PowerPoint, that advisor can use them to present during the class. They also come with what Lucy just said, you know, like interactive activities, which is great because it gives the student the chance to interact with one another, so that give them the second chance, you know, to be able to really understand and learn the materials. Mm-hmm. So I found that the activities are very, very important. the teachers can also use our instructional guide to develop their own presentation, or use the one that we have right now for booklet number 1 or 2 to modify them so that they will be suitable for the need of their classroom.
Mhm, mhm. So all a teacher has to do is download the presentation onto their own desktop, and then modify it as they choose, and then present it as they wish. Again, there's loads of further research that they can go to and maybe find different aspects that they want to emphasize and add to or subtract from each of the presentations. So totally up to the teacher's discretion.
Yeah, and also our website is also have like the topic. So, some advisor, they may not need all the topics. They can pick and choose to see which one they want to purchase and download. Now, some school principal also like the fact that they can purchase a curriculum so that they can let the advisors to use that as a reference point to guide the students through the school year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make a quick note about the presentations as well. Something that I just like loved and stood out to me when I was looking at them is just like, yes, all of the different resources, but also because I'm personally a visual learner, so all of the different videos that you can show to students, I love that because, if it's about one specific topic and, obviously Lucy has done her research and understands that students will learn in different ways. And so she's made sure to include multiple different resources for the ways that students learn. And so for me, something that I love doing was to see all the different, videos that you provided to help, understand a topic. And so, yeah, that was something that I really appreciated. And also the teacher's notes as well are really helpful with, like that extra explanation about like a learning activity or a group activity. So yeah, they are very extensive, like we've talked about. And me looking through them, not even as an advisor, but someone who works with advisors, I get to see firsthand how that's something that is so helpful for advisors. And I think about, those advisors, especially like when I think about new advisors using it and feeling like there's a whole world open up to them, and so many resources just at the touch of their hand. So yeah, so that's something that I've admired about the curriculum, Lucy. What other kinds of features would you say that advisors can really benefit from the curriculum that kind of sets it apart from other curriculum?
I think the variety of topics and the accessibility to other research. So there's information that is presented in the content that's written. But if you wanted to dive deep, there are differing points of view that might be presented in the other research that is online. And for an example, you can't pin down designers as to what the 5 big ideas are in what design is, because everybody has a slightly different take on what design is. So I made sure that I kind of looked at it and thought to myself, okay, these align, these align, these align, these align. This one's a little bit out there. So I'm going to make sure that I include that in the other resources that teachers can look at. So it's the information is not in a vacuum. The information is aligned with companion pieces. So it takes time to go down all of the rabbit holes, because when you do research, that's what happens. One idea leads to another idea, leads to another idea, leads to another idea. And so it takes time to kind of absorb that information and assess that information and compartmentalize that information and attune that information to your students and what becomes important. And it's the browsing effect. I learned this past weekend, that there is something to the idea of browsing and what that ability to sustain a focus on a subject and really bring in a lot in the way of desperate information to see how it might intersect and create a different kind of pathway for you. So it's not a be all end all for sure. And each one of the other companion pieces of information that is supplied can lead to other companion pieces that are not listed. So we try to provide a direction for creating a fuller understanding of topics. If you don't have any understanding of them at all, I am reminded that a lot of teachers who do yearbook are teachers who simply have as a qualifier a generous heart around their students, and literally no experience, no language, no experience other than maybe having purchased a yearbook when they were a kid. So making sure that there's a way to develop that language, to develop that expertise, to develop knowledge around some of the big topics that move a yearbook forward is very intentional in the curriculum.
Another thing I would like to add is the instructional guide has also been indexed by categories.
Mhm.
So, and the topic is searchable. So once the advisors design the list of material they want to teach through the school year or during the first 9 weeks, they can do a search, and that will lead them to the page and the subheading where they can get the information. For example, if the advisor want to focus on photography, design theory, graphic design, creative writing, and they can simply do a search, and the search will take them to the page based on the booklet, to create their own presentations. Now, some of the presentation for some photography, design theory already included in the instructional guide. So therefore, they do not have to do a separate presentation. So because it's already included. So there are layers of information, and there are a lot of hyperlinks, but everything has been indexed by categories. So it's very easy for advisor to be able to pick and choose what topic they want to focus on. I would say United Yearbook curriculum is like an encyclopedia. It has everything a yearbook advisors would need to teach a very comprehensive yearbook class through the school year. Because like after the 9 weeks, it's simply to repeat, right? And to review. So students learn best through repetition.
Mhm.
I would say anybody, we all learn through repetitions.
Repetition and application and assessing what you've done in terms of what you have learned. So for an example, the assessment pieces that are in the curriculum are based on specific criteria per assignment. So that's the idea, the notion of beginning with the end in mind. So the essentially what you do is state, we want our kids to know this. Here's the assessment that we will use in order for them to tell us that they know this. And so the assessment then is a rubric that is defining the criteria that is going to be used to make that assessment. So in the presentations and in the lesson plans and in the learning activities, the assessments that are built into the curriculum generate or have as embedded as part of the curriculum, these kinds of rubrics. Now they can be applied, the rubrics can be applied to presentations, they can be applied to writing, they can be applied to photography, they can be applied to many different scenarios. And the criteria changes per assignment, and the qualifiers, the degree to which the student meets the assignment with success, changes according to the criteria. But the idea of a rubric, a use of a rubric, and a use of specific criteria per assignment helps to prove the notion of objectivity and helps to create the student's ability to discern good from better and better to excellent, and in their own work and in the work of their peers. And it helps them to understand it's about the work and not about themselves. Okay, so they're able to create that a bit of indifference or distance between themselves and the work. So it becomes, the work becomes most important. So.
Yeah, that's good to know. I also wanted to add for, any advisors out there who maybe they'll get their hands on the curriculum and maybe they feel like they still have questions. We have support out there for them. So I just want to make a note of that, any questions that still need to be answered or anything like that, we're like readily available to support them in those questions and to make sure that they're able to use the curriculum to the best of their abilities and to really take everything that we've talked about today and incorporate it within their classroom. So for any of those advisors that are out there that maybe are feeling like unhappy with the curriculum they have right now, or they're just completely lost, maybe they're a new advisor, or it's just been something that's been difficult for them. And right. I know that a lot of advisors, yearbook isn't their only class, and so they're thinking about different classes and they're doing curriculum for other classes. And so for those advisors who are feeling maybe unhappy or who are feeling kind of stressed out in terms of curriculum for their yearbook class, what would you say to them? What piece of advice would you give them?
Well, one, to breathe, okay, and to take things slowly. You don't have to jump in head first. You can put your toes in the water and you can create a little bit of a ripple, and then the ripple can build. So one of the things that Sarah and I have successfully done with some advisors who have asked for a walkthrough with the curriculum, we have taken the time to show them exactly how a presentation might work, to show them exactly how the presentations are supported by the content of the curriculum, and explain to them how they can modify the presentations for their own use. Okay, so we understand that the beginning of the school year, especially for teachers who have been provided the gift of teaching yearbook without any support whatsoever, that the tsunami is real. It's running after them. And if you look over your shoulder too much, you can be absolutely terrified. But if you look at the ground in front of you, you can keep moving. You can move at a pace that makes sense to you. And so the best advice I can provide for teachers who are feeling overwhelmed and in need of help is to ask for it, and to reach out and call us, because we will make time. We are committed to walking alongside you and making a partner of not only the advisors, but also of the staff. So it was an interesting experience recently to explain the curriculum to a group of 8th graders, and that they really understood the necessity of it, and they asked brilliant questions, and they were probably one of the best audiences that I have had in a little bit of a while. And so it is something that is accessible, understandable, relatable, and I just I just know that it will help provide a firm foundation for whatever it is that a teacher wants to create in his or her classroom.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Lucy.
thank you for
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add is at the beginning of the school year, we get a lot of inquiries. And also when we speak to advisors, especially new ones, they're absolutely overwhelmed, not knowing where to start. And we also know some new advisor, they will go online to purchase or acquire a different curriculum. So one thing I do see it as a challenge is when curriculum is being purchased from different sources, you can have a variance, on the standard. So that's why to stay with develop your own curriculum or stay with one source, just like in our case, United Yearbook. And I'm sure there are other yearbook providers also provide curriculum. As I mentioned earlier, our curriculum have every topic a teacher advisor will experience, whether they're going to have a smaller yearbook class or a bigger yearbook class. They have everything they need. So recently, we successfully helped a new yearbook advisor who were placed in a position to teach a yearbook class, and she was under a lot of stress. So we met with her and showed her one presentation, and it was like a light bulb just went on. And Lucy and I witnessed, that smile, that relief on her face when we show her, step by step, this is what you do, this is what you can lead the student with this material, and this is where you go. So we walk her through from instructional guide to the presentation so that she can use some material or modify our material based on her need in order for her to teach her class. So a year later, I'm very excited. This is her second year, and she has been able to teach her yearbook class with great confidence. And the content is just amazing, So I would say this is just an example of many new advisors who may be placed in similar situation, but our curriculum can definitely help them. Recently, we also have one school principal using the principal budget, to purchase a curriculum so that the advisor from her school will be able to be prepared when he start a new school year after summer. So so I'm just excited, just our ability to help advisor, especially the new ones.
I also like the posters that we have. We have 3 instructional posters that are aligned with the curriculum, and I enjoyed having posters in my classroom that I could teach from and refer kids to if they were confused about something or needed to get a little bit of a refresher. The 3 posters that we have that are aligned to the curriculum are the photography basics, the cover design, and writing a compelling caption. So, or photo caption, a caption for a photograph in the yearbook. So those 3 posters, I think, are really good anticipatory set for the kind of curriculum that we offer. So if you were to look at and use those posters in your classroom, you would have a really good idea of the kind of quality that we present in the curriculum as well.
Yeah, and we'll include a link to those posters below, and we'll also obviously include a link to our curriculum below so everyone can explore and sift through our curriculum site. We also have an FAQ site specifically for curriculum, so I'll make sure to link everything down below. So obviously we've talked quite a bit about how extensive and robust our curriculum is. Would you say this is suitable for schools in different countries? And I think I'll probably ask Sarah this question, as she's worked with many different advisors before.
Yes, we can deliver, all over the world internationally. so is our curriculum. I found that, as I talk to advisors from other countries, their yearbook class is actually being taught in English, but some may be in other language. But with ChatGPT and AI, they can easily translate our curriculum into the native language. Yes, definitely our curriculum can be used by school from other countries. And as a matter of fact, every day we see different visitors from different country visiting our site, reading our blog on my curriculum. So we definitely have a very, very international client. I would say school, they're very close by us in Canada, Australia, Europe, and even South America. We have school from South America that also can benefit from my curriculum.
Mhm.
Just reach out, contact us. We're happy to help and walk alongside every advisor, like Lucy said earlier. Well, I think that closes out this podcast. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add before we say goodbye?
Well, I think that every student belongs in the book. And however you can manifest that, however you can make that happen, our curriculum can assist you. And I just wish you the very best in being able to do that.
Thank you, Lucy. It's a great reminder.
And thank you to all the advisors out there. Advising a yearbook is truly a labor of love. Thank you, thank you, and thank you.
Yes, thank you all. And if you have any other comments or questions, leave them down below and we'll get to them as soon as possible. See you all next time.
Bye.